Hey everyone, today we're going to pull back the curtain on a piece of technology that's pretty much everywhere you look, but is also kind of misunderstood. I'm talking about .NET. You've probably heard the name thrown around, but what is it, really? Let's dive in and figure out what makes it such a powerhouse in the world of software.
All right, let's start with a little riddle. I want you to picture three totally different things. First, that checkout system at your local supermarket, the one beeping away as it scans your groceries. Next, think about a huge social media site that you scroll through online. And finally, think about the apps you tap on your phone every single day. One's for a physical business, one's for the web, one's mobile. What on earth could possibly tie them all together? And the answer is the .NET platform. Yep, it's the invisible foundation, the backbone that lets developers build all of these incredibly different kinds of applications. It's not magic, but honestly, it gets pretty close. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of what this platform actually is.
Okay, first things first. We absolutely have to clear up the single biggest misconception about .NET. A lot of people hear .NET and they think it's just another programming language, like C++ or Python. But that's not even half the story. It is so much more than that. Here's the core idea. I want you to think of .NET as a giant state-of-the-art workshop. It's not a single hammer or screwdriver. It's the entire workbench, the power grid, all the safety gear, and a whole rack of compatible tools. And those tools? Those are all the different programming languages that are designed to work together perfectly inside this one environment. It's a place where you can build almost anything you can dream up. And what exactly can you build in this workshop? Well, pretty much the whole shebang. You can create those classic desktop applications that live right on your computer, everything from a simple calculator to a super complex accounting system for a huge business. You can build massive web applications, think social networks or giant e-commerce sites. And yeah, it's got powerful tools for building the mobile apps you use every day, but for this explainer, we're going to really focus on its power in two massive arenas: desktop and web applications. So you might be thinking, with all the choices out there, why do so many developers and companies bet on .NET for their big projects? It really all boils down to three huge advantages: rock-solid security, fantastic speed, and just incredible versatility. Let's dig into where all that comes from. A little bit of history kind of sets the stage here. Microsoft first started talking about the whole idea of .NET way back in the year 2000. And then by 2002, the first version was released to the public. But here's the most important part. It was released as a free software development platform. This was a total game changer. By making it free, Microsoft basically put professional, enterprise-level tools into the hands of developers everywhere, which is exactly what fueled its journey to becoming the giant it is today. So what's the secret sauce here? What's the magic that makes it all tick? Well, the real power behind .NET's security and performance is a component called the Common Language Runtime, or just CLR for short. You can think of it as the brain and the heart of the entire .NET operation. The genius of the CLR is all about where it sits. It acts as this protective layer, a buffer, between the application's code and your computer's actual operating system. This creates a secure little sandbox for the code to run in, keeping everything safe, while also being fine-tuned for the absolute best performance. From now on, when you hear CLR, I want you to think two things: security and speed. And remember that workshop we talked about? Well, it comes with a massive toolbox. .NET supports over 30 different programming languages. 30! That gives developers incredible flexibility to use the best tool for the job. But among all those options, one language truly reigns supreme, and that's C#. All right, so let's put this all into practice. How do developers actually use .NET to build stuff? We're going to start with its most popular language, C#, and see how powerful it is for creating desktop applications. Using C#, developers can build three main types of applications. First up, you've got your Windows GUI apps. This is anything with a graphical user interface that you click around in, like a photo editor or that detailed billing system for a supermarket. Second, there are Windows services. These are like the ninjas of the software world. They're stealthy background processes with no user interface at all. They just run quietly in the background, handling crucial jobs like sending automated emails or cleaning up a database. And finally, you have console apps, the classic command line tools that are the backbone for so much automation and scripting. But what about the internet? The web is everything these days, right? Well, that's where .NET's other major component comes into play: For building anything and everything on the web, developers turn to ASP.NET. Now, to really get what ASP.NET does, it helps to understand the difference between a simple, static website, which is basically a digital brochure, and a true web application. A web app is, well, it's alive, it's interactive. Its content is constantly changing because it's pulling fresh information from a database in real time. Think about a news site with breaking headlines popping up, or an e-commerce store where the inventory and user reviews are always updating. That dynamic, living capability is exactly where ASP.NET shines. With that in mind, ASP.NET lets developers build the whole spectrum. You can, of course, build those simple, static brochure sites. You can also engineer those incredibly complex, dynamic web applications that are fully interactive and database-driven. But you can also create something called web services. Think of these as reusable tools that live on the internet for other applications to use. By building a function just once as a web service, developers can let hundreds of other programs use that function without ever having to rewrite the same code over and over again. It's incredibly efficient. So, after that quick tour of the .NET world, let's kind of bring it all home. When you look at the whole package, the flexibility, the security, the power, you really start to understand why .NET has been such a dominant force in software development for like 2 decades now. So if you boil it all down, what are the key takeaways? First, remember that .NET isn't just one language. It's a complete, incredibly versatile platform. Second, it gives you that secure, high-performance environment thanks to the CLR. It lets you build pretty much any kind of application you can think of. It makes development way more efficient by promoting code reusability. And maybe the best part of all, this entire incredibly powerful toolset is completely free.
So there you have it. A professional-grade, secure, and totally free platform that powers some of the absolute biggest applications in the world. The tools are right there, waiting for you. The only question left is, what are you going to build with them?